If after hours of work you finished painting and then you feel like something is missing and you don't know what it is, then this video is for you. Hello everyone, I'm Yane and this channel is the place where I teach you valuable techniques so you can improve your art as soon as possible. Today we're gonna go over one of my Patron's paintings and you will learn 5 secrets to make your art stand out more. This here is Rina's artwork. Shout out to Rina. You can find her Instagram on the description of this video if you want to follow her work. And you can see that the structure, that is the character's bodies, the faces, the proportions, everything works pretty well. Even the foreshortening on the hand is pretty good. So why isn't this image outstanding right now? Well, the main reason is that it's too muted and it's not very dynamic. So now let's see 5 secrets to improve that, and stick to the end because the 5th one is my favorite. So the first secret is you can actually push much more saturation into shadows than you expect. Because we see the world through symbols instead of actually seeing what's there, we usually think shadows are gray or black. Nothing could be farther from reality. Let me show you with a few photos. So first here you can see an image that is lit by the sunset, and the shadows, look at that. Look how saturated that is on the skin, on the hair. Of course, there are some parts that are pretty black, but overall, you don't see a lot of desaturated colors over here. Then we have a scene here that is more muted. It is lit probably by candles or something. And then when it goes to the shadows, okay, it is less saturated, but it's still quite saturated. It's near half the scale. Can you see that? When it comes to his hair, it's more desaturated because he has white hair. So there's not a lot of color to pop in here. Then you can also have like this here, it has such beautiful colors. This very pinkish skin color with extremely blue shadows, very beautiful as well. But you can see it's not desaturated, it's not black. When you get an image like this, which is with an overcast scenario where there's like lots of clouds and not a lot of sun, or there's not a specific light, with direct light, everything's diffused, then you can get some more desaturated tones, you can see, but still it's not completely gray. So on this character's skin as well, you can see that the original is a little bit too desaturated, and it would look much better if we saturated it again. Secret number 2 is about contrast. The original piece had too little contrast between the characters and the background, and it made them kind of mingle together. To change that, I replaced the original mute and warm background, which was very similar to their skin and hair colors, for a dark blue. That way we have contrast in both value and saturation. One of the best ways to increase contrast is to make a change in color temperature. So if you have a character with warm tones, placing a cold background can look really good. Now that we changed the background, it already makes them pop a little bit more, right? Now, if you're liking this type of content, consider joining my Patreon. Over there you can find hundreds of recordings, tutorials, step-by-steps, and even get feedback like Rina did. Link is in the description. Now back to the video. Secret number 3 is actually one I love, and that is to make dynamic lighting. What does it mean to make dynamic lighting? Here I'm talking about 2 methods. The first is creating interesting shapes with light and shadow by placing the main light source in an asymmetrical spot, so you can create good shapes with it. If you don't really know how to do this, look up photos with amazing lighting and try to learn from them. The second method is adding more than one light source. This one is more complex, but with a little bit of study, you can do it. Keep in mind that the second light source will usually be less intense, and if you add a little bit of color, you can really make the scene pop. The 4th secret is adding subsurface scattering to make the characters look alive. If you don't know, subsurface scattering is a phenomenon where light penetrates a translucent surface, like the skin, and is scattered within that object, creating a glowing effect. Subsurface scattering is more prominent when the surface is thin, like on the ears and fingers, and when the light comes from behind. However, it is also visible on the edge between light and shadow on translucent materials like the skin. Although the arm is not thin, there's still some level of subsurface scattering happening. Of course, less than it happens in the ear, but it's there. So the secret is adding this thin line of saturation between light and shadow in the character. Secret number 5 is to add graphic elements to the image. It can be pretty much anything that fits: particles, magic, smoke, fire, anything that can add movement to the piece. If you don't know what to add, look up your favorite artists. What sort of elements do they add to make the piece look prettier and more interesting? For me, my personal favorite is particles. They can glow and make everything sweet, or they can be dark and make everything a little bit more dangerous. When you add these graphic elements, try to create a certain rhythm with them, a flow. Don't just place it randomly, or it can have the opposite effect and make the painting look ugly and messy. Here's a before and an after applying those secrets. Now that you know these 5 secrets, it's time you learn 5 digital art mistakes that you absolutely cannot do. Just click here on the next video and I'll see you there. Bye!